Welcome back to SportsLine, right here on News Channel 5 Plus. Jon Burton with you until the top of the hour. And of course, I'm not alone. My good buddy Chase McCabe from 102.5 The Game is here for the entire hour. We're talking racing, wrestling. You know, it's what we do here in the South, right? Yeah. Let's go to the phones, check in with Matt, who joins us. Good evening, Matt. Did I hit the wrong thing? Hang on.
Uh-oh.
Hello, Matt?
Yeah.
Hey, Matt, you there?
Yeah.
All right. We're going to move on from that. Matt didn't sound like he was too ready to come on the show.
We'll try again. Something like that. Thought he was going to cut a promo.
Exactly. Well, what do you make of what's going on at WWE? The whole Vince McMahon situation, Roman Reigns is obviously their top guy. They really don't have a deep enough roster to give him somebody to work with. You know, it's going to be him and Brock Lesnar again at SummerSlam. Now, listen, it'll be a great match. Both those two guys are great performers, but we've seen this movie before. I mean, WWE, I can't watch on a weekly basis anymore. I stay updated as to what's going on, and I watched, WrestleMania. The show itself was great, but from a week-to-week standpoint, it's unwatchable. I hate to say it.
Yeah, it's tough. So with the Vince thing, I mean, Vince has a reputation, is I guess the best way to put it. And so the board is going to do what they have to do, and they investigate this.
Right.
Stephanie McMahon.
They have to because they're a publicly traded company.
Yeah, they have
right?
to. I mean, they have to. And so him stepping away temporarily, or however you want to look at it, I think was the right move for him. And then they trot him out on TV and have him be Mr. McMahon. But
right.
Stephanie McMahon, his daughter, now the chairwoman and CEO of the company, which I think was going to be the plan all along. It was interesting, though, because she had taken a leave of absence.
Right.
Her husband, Paul Levesque, Triple H, had some health problems, and so she had taken a leave of absence, and now she's running the company. So it is very interesting. The timing is interesting, but you also wonder, because you've seen Vince go through some legal things before, and it comes out, is he going to do it again? Obviously different times, so who knows? But maybe, to your point about the product, maybe it is a good time for Vince to step aside and let Triple H and Steph and whoever else run the company, and Bruce Pritchard, and see what happens. I think that wouldn't be a bad thing at all, because I think Triple H does a really good job with his role and finding talent. And then the other part with Roman Reigns, they're sitting around waiting for The Rock to come back for his last match at likely WrestleMania against his real-life cousin.
It's in Los Angeles next year,
it's in
right?
Los Angeles.
So it makes sense.
Makes
Rock's
sense.
Hollywood now. He's the biggest movie star in the world.
You let Rock headline the Hall of Fame class. Right. He goes out and likely loses to Roman Reigns to make Roman solidify his
him as
spot.
the guy.
Right? Yeah, but in the meantime, what do? I think Cody Rhodes was probably going to fit into things between now and then. Unfortunately, he got hurt and was unable to do that. I think he would have been good. But I want to see things that I haven't seen before, and they can't seem to pull that off right now.
Yeah, you're right. And the only thing missing this summer for wrestling here in Nashville is AEW. How about the job Tony Khan has done? I mean, listen, they've signed a lot. He's got a stacked roster right now, and you got to keep everybody happy. Some of the names they've signed have been incredible, but obviously CM Punk is hurt. MJF cut that promo a couple of weeks ago, which was absolutely amazing. We can't run it here on this show.
No.
Go out of your way to watch the MJF promo from a couple of weeks ago. Overall, what do you think of the job Tony Khan has done making AEW a player in professional wrestling?
I like it for the most part. I do think that maybe he signed too many WWE guys.
I agree.
Punk, I like CM Punk, and I have always liked CM Punk. I don't think he needed to sign CM Punk at this point. Right. I think Punk wanted to prove that he could still do it. He didn't want to go back and work for Vince and Hunter.
That was never going to happen.
And so that was the only avenue that he was going to have, was to be able to do that. When they started the company and Jericho was one of the big signings, that was perfect, because Chris Jericho is the king of reinventing himself and having like 7 different characters over his career, and he does it so well. I think Adam Cole is a guy that you can ride to the moon. because he's so talented both on the mic and in the ring. You build around that.
And Vince was never going to build him up to be a big, a top guy because, you know, in his mind, he's too small.
Right. And you got to, I think Cody Rhodes has star power. But I think he saw the writing on the wall with all these guys that were coming in, and it was going to be WWE all over again for him. And so he decided to make the jump. But, you know, did you need the Hardys? Yeah, you need some tag teams, but did you need Matt and Jeff Hardy at this point in their career? You have
Jeff's
Young
got
Bucks.
his own problems, unfortunately.
Jeff's got his issues, but I do, and MJF is the guy. And that promo, and kudos to Tony Khan for booking it that way, because I can tell you, and you know this from being in the business, like when I heard that promo and people are texting me like, is this real? Like, is he doing it? And I go, Tony booked it that way. Because I bet Tony went to him backstage and said, call me a mark. Like, just come at me and make this about me.
Bury me. Rip me a new one.
And for being on cable television and getting away with the language, and like when he looked in the camera and said what he said, I said, I'm done. I mean, I'm hooked. You got me. So
case closed.
And like you think of CM Punk's pipe bomb from Raw about 10 years ago. Like,
I can't believe it's been that long.
Yeah, he threw that aside. Like he made that look silly.
He destroyed that.
And so I think they have a lot of good talent there. It's just how can they use it? Like because you've brought in Bryan Danielson and some of these WWE guys that are going to take the Hangman Pages and Kenny Omegas that establish themselves in Japan and in the Indies. You don't want to take their spot, so it's tough.
Yeah, you know, they've got they've got some growing pains, but I think overall Tony Khan's done a pretty nice job. I don't, you know, it's just going to be a matter of how can they keep this roster happy. Got some phone calls here. Let's go to line. Who do we have on line one, Emila? Oh, Matt joins us again. Hey, Matt. Hold on. Matt, you there?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Matt. All right. Sorry, Matt. We're gonna move on. So we're gonna
Matt.
Yeah. Sorry, Matt. Just lay out and listen, Matt. It's probably better for you. As we said, 102.6.
Roll out of the ring.
That's right. As we said, 102.5 is also the home of Nashville Predators hockey on the radio. Interesting season for the Preds. They lose in the first round to the Colorado Avalanche, who's in a dogfight right now with the Tampa Bay Lightning in the Stanley Cup final. And now comes word that former Tennessee Governor Bill Haslam is going to buy in and eventually become the majority owner. The official announcement press conference is scheduled for tomorrow morning. What do you make of all that? And to me, the biggest thing that popped into my head, Chase, when this came down a week ago, how does this affect the future of David Poile, right? The longtime GM, winningest general manager in the history of the NHL, Hall of Famer. Few people in all of sports are more respected than him. But he's in his early 70s now. I know that, does he stay on? Does he want to work for another ownership group or another owner? And as far as the franchise as a whole, are they going to keep trying to put money in this thing and chase that Stanley Cup, or do they embrace a rebuild? I mean, what do you think the short and long-term future of the Preds will be now that we've got this, this situation with Haslam coming in as owner?
It's like an onion. There are a lot of layers here to peel back. I will say this, shameless plug. Governor Bill Haslam will join 102.5 The Game tomorrow on the DDC at 1:15. So he will be coming on with Darren McFarland and Willie Donick to talk about this after he's introduced. I think it's interesting for him. To be a part of this, because he's a Tennessean, obviously was the former governor, very familiar with the franchise, knew what had happened, many years ago when they almost left and were sold. And so this is an investment for him that, from what I understand, is going to take place over the course of a number of years before he becomes majority owner. So to answer the second part of your question, I don't think it affects David Poile at all, because I feel that David Poile, whether you agree with, and I don't agree with every move he's made, and I do think that, it's time for him to maybe get some outside help, which I did ask him about at his press conference, and he said he was open to that. Barry Trotz, even though he's obviously in the family, he's been outside. That could be the direction that they go, the first Predators coach. But I think that David has earned enough and done enough over the years that they are going to give him every opportunity to win a cup and then him decide when he's done.
So he's going to go out on his terms, you think?
Yeah, and so I think we're obviously closer to the end of the David Poile era than we are to the beginning, for sure. They need to keep making the playoffs. They need to keep winning. This team does need to get better. Signing Philip Forsberg is going to help them do that.
That was my next question. Where, you know, gut feeling there, Chase. I won't hold you to this, but you know, it seems pretty quiet on that front. I think they probably want to wait until after the draft, or at least draft weekend, to figure that out. I mean, they could still, you know, Phil Forsberg, you know, the greatest goal scorer in franchise history, set to become a free agent. You know, his contract is almost up. Now, the Preds could trade his negotiating rights to another team and at least get something for him. But at this point, you can't let this guy walk away at 27 years old.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you know, gut feel, how do you think this ends with Philip Forsberg? Does he get a new deal? Does he stay here in Nashville? Does he move up?
So I've been pretty 50-50. I've been wishy-washy. I'll just put that. I have been like, he's coming back. He's not coming back. You know, one luxury that we have on our show, the DDC, is we talk to David Poile every week during the season. And so a lot of times, you know, I'd get the last few questions, and I'd go, oh, well, nobody's asking. Okay, so David, Philip, how's that going? And it became a running joke that I was going to ask him about him, and I even said I'd call him, you know, here in a few weeks just to see how it was going. I think, though, one thing that has stood out to me lately is Philip Forsberg's been visible in Nashville. He was at the CMA Fest, came on the stage, talked to the crowd, talked about how much he loved Nashville. He's been at Nashville SC games. He is putting himself out there, and logic for me is, if you don't want to be here and you're going to leave, then why would you do that? You would tell CMA Fest, hey, appreciate it, sorry, don't want to do it.
I just want to hang low.
So, and David Poile has said it multiple times, we want him back. Philip Forsberg has said, I want to be back. It's just, what is that going to cost you? And I think the tough part for them is they signed Roman Josi to an 8-year deal, making just over $9 million a year, with a no trade and no movement clause. And if you're Philip Forsberg and you're his camp, you're looking at that going like, well, I'm just as important as he is. I can argue Roman Josi's a better player, and so Roman Josi was worth that. You're getting a deal now, I think, because we'll talk Norris Trophy in a second, but he probably should be paid more now. And so therefore, what's the price for Forsberg? I think he's better than what Duchesne and
I was just going to say, I mean, is it a matter of being like in between, say, Josi and then Duchesne and Johansson? You know, so maybe Josi's here, Forsberg's here, Duchesne, Johansson here. Is that kind of where you see it?
That's where I see it, because, you know, I had the luxury for many years to work with the late, great Floyd Reese, the former GM of the Tennessee Titans, and he used to always say, there are certain guys that those are your guys. And he said, I would never pay an offensive lineman more than Bruce Matthews, because that's Bruce Matthews. And he earned that spot. And to me, it's a business. You got to do what you got to do. I can't justify paying him more than Josi. And so that's what they have to figure out. I think 8.5 is fair, more than fair, and he gets the 8th year here. So if he wanted to leave and go to LA, one, he's going to have more taxes to pay. He'll only have 7 years. He can't get the 8th year. So in theory, if you work it right, he could make more money staying here because you have that 8th year to work with. It's just, is he willing to do that? And I also, on the other side, I don't blame him. Go get it. Go get the money.
At 27 years old, you've more than proven yourself. I mean, you're a quality goal scorer. You're a good player. You know, go out and get what you're worth. I always say you're worth whatever somebody is willing to pay you. You know what I mean? As a Yankee fan, I'm going through this right now with Aaron Judge. I don't know what his future is going to be. All right, hold tight.
You got 50 wins. You're okay.
I know you're a Braves fan. And, you know, congrats, world championship.
I need a rematch from '99 and '96.
Oh, so yes. Let's run it back. All right, when we come back, we are going to talk about Roman Josi and the Norris Trophy. Did he get robbed? We'll get Chase's answer to that and a lot more. Stay with us.